And we begin with breaking news from the United States, where the Supreme Court has upheld granting automatic U.S. citizenship to children born in the country to undocumented migrants. This ruling, a huge blow to President Donald Trump, who had ordered an end to birthright citizenship if parents are in the United States illegally or temporarily. The court's 6-3 decision upholds longstanding practice that Trump had sought to overturn. Earlier in the day, the court handed Trump twin victories, abolishing limits on party election funding and upholding state laws barring transgender girls and women from playing on school athletic teams. And DW's Misha Komodowski is following this development from Washington for us. Misha, this case has been so controversial with a lot at stake. What more do we know about the ruling?
Yes, Sarah, it really has. This is one of those cases where the stakes were both legal and personal, and for lots and lots of people. At the center is birthright citizenship, the idea that if you are born in the United States, you are automatically a citizen under the 14th Amendment. And that's been the long-standing interpretation for more than a century. And today, the Supreme Court essentially sided with the principle of this amendment, which is simple. If you are born on U.S. soil, you are an American citizen. President Trump has challenged that for years. He's pointed to so-called birth tourism, which is quite popular, especially in his very own state of Florida, and national security concerns. So when he returned to the White House, one of his very first moves was signing an executive order to end it. But even people inside his own administration, inside his very own inner circle, had doubts, because most legal experts said that this isn't something a president can do alone. It would need to go through the Congress. And today, the Supreme Court agreed. Justices across the political spectrum had already signaled skepticism during oral arguments. So this outcome is not a surprise. The ruling was written by Chief Justice John Roberts, and it is a significant check on presidential power.
Does this mean that the challenge is now over, Misha, or does Trump have any other avenues?
Well, supporters of changing the rule argued it's about immigration policy and how the Constitution should be applied today. Opponents say altering birthright citizenship would fundamentally reshape who gets to be considered American. So today's opinion isn't just about legal theory. It affects thousands of families and set a major precedent for how constitutional rights are interpreted in the future. But expect more lawsuits in the nearest future in lower courts. This is something that legal experts are expecting.
There's been a big shift on immigration in the U.S. under Trump. Can you just give us, the larger view of what has been at play and the latest on that front?
Yes, Sarah, and we've reported on that matter. Since Trump returned to office, the administration has deported hundreds of thousands of people. ICE has more than doubled in size, and protections for migrants for Venezuela, Haiti, or Somalia have been stripped away. Just last week, the Supreme Court handed the White House 3 major immigration wins, making it easier to end protections, restrict asylum, and speed up deportations. But not everything has gone the administration's way. Courts have blocked several key policies, including a sweeping pause on legal immigration for people from 39 countries. More than 800 lawsuits have been filed against Trump immigration policy so far. So what we are watching today isn't just about one ruling. It's part of a two-front battle. The administration pushing hard to reshape who can come to America, who can stay here in the United States, and now, with today's case, who is even considered American at birth.
And we have to say that this ruling, it comes on the final day of a Supreme Court term that has really centered on Trump's expansive claims of presidential power, and it has largely ruled in his favor, including this ruling that came in today upholding the ban on transgender women in female athletics. Walk us through some of the other decisions that have been handed down.
Well, Sarah, I have to say that the Supreme Court justices today are considered more popular than any pop star in this country. And beyond birthright citizenship, the Supreme Court wrapped up its term today with two more big rulings, as you said, and both are going to be felt for a long, long time. The court didn't rule against the president on everything today. On transgender athletes, the justices ruled 6-3 to uphold state laws that ban transgender girls and women from competing in female sports. States like Idaho or West Virginia, they had pushed for this, and more than 24 other states have similar laws, and now they have the green light too. So critics say this goes beyond fairness and effectively pushes transgender students out of school sports altogether. And on campaign money, the court struck down decades-old limits on how much political parties can actually spend alongside their candidates. That opens the door to even more money flowing into elections, fewer restrictions, with a bigger advantage for well-funded campaigns. Some analysts are already comparing it to the Citizens United decision, which fundamentally changed how money works in American politics. And it is very important ahead of the midterms here in the United States. So what does today tell us? The court has been largely on President Trump's side this term, expanding his power to fire federal officials, backing his immigration agenda in several key cases. But today, it drew a clear line on birthright citizenship. It gave and it took away all the same. All in the same morning, and the President Trump has reacted just now. He called it a big win for the country, and on the campaign decision, it goes in support of the First Amendment. That's what he just posted on his very own Truth Social platform.
Misha Komodowski in Washington, thank you.